And we got Will,
hmm
Collective Media in the building. Welcome to the
Oh
show,
yeah,
Sports Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio, Mad Max Radio. How's it going, man?
going great, going great.
You're at
Yeah,
practice. You got the Cardinal hat. You're are you a Cardinal fan then?
yes, always.
Ozzie
Yes,
Smith.
yep. St. Louis Cardinals, man. I've been loving them forever.
That's a
Oh yeah,
classic right there. That logo is always going to be classic. One of the best in the league for sure.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's get into it, man. Collective Media. Let's get into the beginning stages of this. When did you really start to put the pieces together for this important company that you got on here?
Well, it got frustrating working with, I want to say majors, but what happened was, when you're working with majors, they kind of control everything when you release, when you record, and all that kind of stuff. You never really know where all the money is. You don't know what parties you're partnered with as far as like when they bring in marketing promotions, and when they control everything, they control the budget. You just get a person that tells you, oh, here's your invoice, this is what it costs. So what I decided to do was, I was dealing with influencers and stuff, and so I kind of combined the two. Okay, so basically what I did was I took the social media aspect of it and I combined it where I could actually give the artists where they own their real estate. So now, instead of giving away their masters, they have a chance to own their masters. They can release whenever they want to. We have marketing. Uh, we have YouTube. We have all the social media outlets. And so when I decided to do that, then we went to another phase. We have insurance. Uh,
Mhm.
I learned that during. So what I did was, we have health, life, optic, and dental. We're not trying to be the insurance company. What we're doing is, we put the link on our page, and once the artist signs up, they have the ability to go in there and pick whatever substance they want. Okay,
Mhm.
and so that was the second phase. Then I took another phase where everything you've ever done in your career. So most platforms just have a one song, right? That's all you have. So how can a new artist become known when no one knows who they are, just by putting up a song, right? So now what I do is, I put up everything you've ever done in your career. You put it on one page. It's a digital one sheet. So basically, all of the the coaches are blowing my phone. I'm sorry.
It's
So
good.
on the social media platforms, like all of them are live. Apple, Icon, um, all the majors, all of the majors are like, say, like Apple, Spotify, X, Pandora. All of them are live icons on their page, so I can actually click on that particular icon. I never have to leave the page. So basically, I can actually share all your information. I can go to, if I go to Spotify, I go to Spotify, hit the Safari button or the browser button, come back. So basically, now when you pull up a platform for a new artist, instead of just having one song, you have everything they've ever done in their career on one page. Everything. So, and what I'm doing is, we're about to have a contest, a sign up contest, and stuff like that. And about great thing about it is, the artist fully knows everything. They see all their money. They see where everything is, because a lot of times artists don't know where it is.
Mhm.
They see all these streaming platforms. They see all of these streaming numbers, but they don't make the money. Like Snoop Dogg said the best when he said, "How can you have a billion streams and you don't make $1 million?"
It's true.
That's because the label controls and owns pretty much everything. And so what I decided to do was put the artist back in control. Say, like, for instance, when I come to you and I say, hey, man, I have this record that's it's really hot. I want you to check it out. But what happens is, a lot of times when they say that, they don't. They said the first thing you ask me, what's their Spotify numbers? What's their Instagram? Whereas when you go to my page, you can see all of that up front. You can go to Instagram, you can see Apple, you can see all their numbers. So it's basically the analytics. You see all the analytics. So think of it as like an athlete. So when these artists are out here, and I'm trying to promote them or push them, I can actually share their link. I can hit a link that says share, and everything that their bio, their songs, their single, their videos, and their artwork. Everything is all on one page. And it's like, instead of just showing, like I said, the one song up there, and you're trying to figure out, okay, where do we go with this from here? So I partnered with a few companies that are allowing me to like when I use YouTube, Facebook, um, and then like the playlisting. We could pitch playlisting. We could do all of the above, And so I just think it's better for the artist. It offers more. Like I don't know how many songs drop a day or weekly, but like I said, those kids are never seen or discovered
It's true.
because they're just putting up a song. And the only time it gets any attention if the song has legs, But I'm given an opportunity to make it where it's inexpensive. It's $15, it's $25, and $39. It's $4 cheaper than every other platform. But I'm offering way more,
Mhm.
you know. So that's pretty much it. I know I've been kind of carried for a minute, but we actually been putting this together for a couple of years, and we were hitting and missing. And we have a tech person that handles the tech side. We handle the marketing, promotions, and bringing in the new artists and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah.
A lot of details there, and I greatly appreciate the explanation of everything you got going on. But when would you say it really started to become a go-to for you guys for artists? I see the artists that you have on board, including Jazze Pha. So when did he come aboard with you
Well,
guys?
I've been managing Jazzy for forever.
Wow.
I've been dealing with a lot of major artists, over the years, and I just told Jazzy, he was actually riding in the car one day with Nick Cannon, and they actually gave us a shout out, and they made a joke about me having insurance. So, and this is another thing too. Say like when you have an artist or a producer like Jazze Pha, right?
Mhm.
So when you have a person like Jazze Pha, um, they back in the day when we were working, when we recorded a record, they had to pay right when you walk in the room. It's not like that anymore.
No.
So now you putting all this music up, you're in the studio, you're paying for studio time, you're paying the engineer. You don't know if you made the album for 6 months. How are you going to pay your bills doing that? So instead of hitting the home run with the majors, I could take it and say, I could take this particular artist and say, hey, here's Jazzy's platform. So with other artists that are on the platform, they can actually see what he's doing. Oh, I didn't know Jazzy made that record. I
Mm.
need 3 or more records just like that. You see what I mean? So I'm connecting the artist, the producer, and the writer together where they can all communicate by sharing a link. It doesn't have to necessarily where I'm calling Jazzy on the phone, reaching out to his people. By the time you get to the person that can actually get you to Jazzy, it's a broker deal now. You got 3 people that you have to pay before you get to Jazzy. So, and I just look at all that, man. I was just like, it's enough is enough. I have a passion about this. We've been offered money to partner, and I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I
Mm.
want to take my time, make sure I keep it in the process of which we created it to benefit the artists, and that's kind of where it is, and that's where it's going to go.
That's big. It's
So
it's monumental what you're doing out here. And when you look at it too, because you mentioned everything, because everything is legit with what you're doing. And how do you feel about kind of the landscape of music, especially going about when bringing artists aboard? Because a lot of we're in this whole climate now where agencies and management and all these record labels, they will go based off of following and likes and clicks and all that on social
yeah,
media instead of actual talented musicians. So how do you kind of
exactly.
navigate through that nonsense now?
Yeah, and the thing about that is, where I come in, I manage a few artists and stuff, and the thing is, the manager always gets the blame when things are going great. You're the best person in the world. When things start to slow down, it becomes the manager's fault. You know, you didn't do this. Well, the label shuts down before the manager does. You just try to keep the manager in a position in which he can. I'm doing interview. Okay, so I remember I had a meeting with Zach Katz one day. He was over at BMG, and so we were sitting in the office. I brought an office in. I'm sorry, a client in to possibly sign with them. And so he was, we started talking. He said, you know what? He said, the reason why I got out of the management side of the business because you're going to get fired. It's going to be your fault. You're going to get the blame for everything. And so that was the whole problem. So I saw that happening. So with the artists today, it's more like you have to be more hands-on. You have to show them everything, and there's a way in which I've been doing this for so long that I can show and I can pick like songs because a lot of times you sit in a room and you watch everybody being kind of like a yes man. So the song could be playing and everybody's doing this and everything like that, but then after that, it doesn't go anywhere, right?
Mhm.
So I always take it as if you say like I walk in with a girl with one eye, right? And if I walk in the room and I say, "Hey man, hey, what you think about my girl?" You're not gonna tell me the truth. You're gonna say, "Oh, she's nice," right?
Yeah.
But if I walk in the room and she says, and my friend's like, "Damn, who is that?" You're getting a true response. So every time we were in the studio, I always sit in the back of the room and I just watch the reaction of the people without having to ask them that question. So then that's where you start from that standpoint. Then you pitch it and then you take it to people that you know, and it goes up from that scale there. And like I said, some of the songs that we've done are monumental records, and like Jazze had some huge records, and it's like we just decided now it's time for us to put the control back in the artist's hands.
Mm.
So and then take them and show them, teach them, you know, what they need to do to be successful. Everyone's not going to be successful, but at least I'm gonna be honest, you know. And if you start showing people how they can check out their analytics, and you give them a real stage where people can actually see them.
I think we were still in the middle of with you the process that you were doing with what you do with artists, looking for the genuine response instead of the yes
Yeah,
man. Still, yeah.
that's really important. And like I said, I'm not here to judge anyone or say that this song is good or this song is not. But you look at the history of what a hit is, you know, and that's kind of what it is. You know, you can kind of tell a natural reaction versus, you know, some songs like I can honestly say there were some songs that I didn't like per se, but they ended up becoming hits. You know, and so you know you can't judge everything by what I say, but it's kind of like it kind of doesn't miss, and then you get the full support. And then with the analytics, the way the labels look at stuff now, because things are so different, because you're not buying records like you used to, so it's really about streaming. So they're trying to figure out how to make money for the labels as well as the artists. And so the best way to do it is to move organically and move and promote in all different directions. But how many artists can actually afford to do that? You know, and that's where the biggest problem comes in. They don't have the finances. And I've been in meetings where a person really loves the record and they really love what's going on, but they're saying your numbers don't fit yet. So you have to literally go in there and try to um, figure it out. And so a lot of times, great songs never get heard or seen because they don't have the financial wherewithal to promote it the right way. And one thing about me, I'll never say nothing negative about any label or any person. When I talk about stuff, it's from my experiences. I have my personal feelings, but I don't want to be judged based on trying to ridicule someone else or another, situation.
Mhm.
But from my experience, I've seen like a lot of the times labels pass on good things, and it ends up in the long run they end up becoming a big time artist, and it's because they go by the numbers on Spotify, not really, but the internet, like Instagram and places like that. But there's so many numbers and stuff that are bots and fudged numbers, YouTube
Mhm.
numbers, so you don't get a real gauge. So I like to do it the old fashioned way, using my influencers and stuff like that to get. We used to do have kids dance to the music for us, and like when we put a record out, we would be over $2 million the next day. Because the kids were actually all over the internet. We did TikTok. We did our thing really at that time was um, we did Fortnite. We did Thriller. So a lot of kids were 15 seconds, and all the kids were doing like the challenges and stuff like that. And a lot of songs that were kind of stagnant blew up based on the internet itself. Based on um, the influencers dancing to a record, and other kids start, you know, emulating everything that was happening as far as that goes. And that's how records took off. You look up one day and it's like the song's at 3 or 4 million, 10 million streams, and it's on YouTube because the influencers were dancing to it, the kids were dancing to it. It's changed now. It's not as like it used to be, but there are certain kids and influencers, and a lot of these companies are gearing and building around that. Like right now, I know for a fact that Triller is they're going to be a little aggressive, trying to promote their platform because at one point everybody thought that that TikTok wasn't going to make it, but it has nine lives pretty much. So, but I just think right now, like with what we're trying to accomplish with these kids and being fair, giving them a real shot, and they don't necessarily have to have a bunch of money in order to try to make things work on this platform. Um, and like I said, this is going to be like I said. There's some songs up there that aren't, what I like, but these are kids, and then you have different artists that can come on there. Like we're really trying to get into the Latin market, and I'm working with some guys in the Latin market that are coming to the platform. Some Afro beats, some country music. I mean, we're doing all genres,
Mhm.
basically, because it's not just one type of music that people listen to. It's all different genres. As you look at the Dangerous record, that record? Is everybody's going crazy over right now. It's kind of hip hop country, but it's really popular right now. You know,
Oh,
the Dangerous is Dangerous. What is it called? Yeah, with Twister. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah. You know what
I've
I
come
mean? And
across
so
that.
I'm actually trying to create a record like that right now for a couple of kids that are country. They were rappers. They're out of the country. They're from another country. They're really talented. They're 15 and 17, and that's one of my next. I'm gonna try to see how that works, and I think it's gonna be great because they actually can perform. They sing, and they're opening for major artists right now. So I think it's going to be like a surprise when I get a chance to actually create that narrative for them with the song, and their kids. And like I said, the fact that they're kids, the internet's going to go crazy over them. Nowadays you have to have the streaming aspect. Older artists don't have that luxury anymore. Like some of them are great artists and they're amazing, they're legends, but the kids are the ones that drive the narrative on the internet right now. You don't see a 40, 50-year-old guy just surfing the web, looking for music and stuff. Well, these kids are still doing that.
It's
So I
true.
think, and that's why I wanted to take this platform and put it in front of everyone, and, like I said, I don't want to be uh, like where I have to just work with one label. I want to work with all labels,
Mhm.
I don't want to, sign a deal where, it's, a situation where it's just best way to say it, exclusive. I don't want to never sign an exclusive deal because you pigeonhole yourself into something, and these other kids and say, like, for instance, I've done that before where I liked a record and I had a situation. I said, hey, what about this record? They said, it's okay. So, but if I'm signed to a major, I can't compete. I have a non-compete. So now you have the ability to bounce around to whoever fits what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm. No, I think that's important. And is this something too with because you hear about artists all the time that they were taken advantage of back in the day, like Jim Jones. I know he said he's trying to get his masters back. Is that
Mhm.
one of your goals too to help legacy artists? Is that something that's in the
Oh
picture for
yeah.
you as well
Oh
to get their
heck,
masters?
heck yes.
Mhm.
Like we have a situation. Like I said, I can't talk about it yet, but we have a situation where we're trying to actually loan money for and for publishing, because a lot of kids caught a lot of problems during the pandemic because they couldn't do shows and everything shut down.
Mhm.
So a lot of these platforms that loan money for your catalogs, they they saved a lot of people's homes and bills. Where they could pay bills and stuff. But like but the best way to do it now is to do kind of a admin deal is kind of a double-edged sword because an admin deal you don't give away your publishing for so long, but it takes forever to recoup because you're not getting the 50% collection rate that they get if they do a regular pub deal. You're doing 10 to 15%. So it's going to take forever to recoup that budget, right? But there's some guys out there that I'm working with that are talking about exactly what you're saying. And once we launch all of those things that we're talking about doing, we're going to bring it to the forefront. Um, and I think it's going to be something that it could be different. The artist's going to make more money. They're going to know where their money is, and it's complete transparency. And I think that's the most important thing. Because once you lose the trust of an artist, once you taint an artist, it's over with. And sometimes you get blamed for stuff that you didn't do, trying to be the mediator or stuff. And so then you're like, well, why didn't you say something? Well, I didn't know. So I try to tell these kids, before they sign a deal, just make sure that they talk about it with several people, not just one person, but just several people to see what fits them the best. Like you say, Jim Jones and all these people that are legends, they should be able to have their publisher control their publishing. You know, why do you have to wait 8 years to collect your publishing back after you out of your deal? I never understood that.
It's crazy.
Everything is geared against the artist. They just in a no-win situation. You do a publishing deal. You've done everything that you're supposed to do, and then now you have to wait 8 years, or I can't remember how many years it is before you get your publishing back. That's not fair. I mean, they're still earning money off of your stuff. Your contract was what it was, and if it's over, they're supposed to release your publishing back to you. You know, I mean, I've never understood that. Like for instance, if like athletes, they come out and they get a major contract. No one's coming to see the owner. They're coming to see your LeBron James, your Anthony Edwards, or people like that. So they're making money based on the people coming to see you. Whereas artists, when they sign a deal, they have to pay all that money back. And when you have to pay all that money back, it's not as fun because your collection rate is not dollar for dollar. So how are you ever going to recoup if you take a bunch of money up front?
Mm.
It's impossible. Especially now, no one's buying music, so all of your money now is geared off of streaming platforms, which is why I'm making this so important. That I'm going to have every icon is hot on the page. Like when I say that, like when you put up everything that your social media, your what do you call it? Um, your like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, um, TikTok, your social media links.
Hmm.
You know, that's the way you make money nowadays. But your collection rate is 0.008, 0.004, and all that kind of stuff. How are you going to win? You know, um, so the more money you take, the harder it is to recoup because your collection rate is so low. So my suggestion is to these kids to take the least amount of money possible. Just take enough money where you can actually promote yourself, and then use your social media and stay busy. A lot of these artists, they sign a deal and then they get comfortable. You should be on the phone if this is your job. Work every day, all day, to like you have an 8 to 5 job. You can't just put a song out there and think that's what it's going to be. No, you have to work. You have to grind every day, and you literally have to stay on social media. You have to reach out to your fan base. Like if a person takes the time to come make a comment on your page, I used to tell artists, go back. You can't talk to everybody, but let them know that you care. You never know what artist is going to make you go viral. Like what fan base or what fan. We had a kid that made one of our songs go viral, and they were saying something like he was going to break the race the racial problems because he was the kid that was getting bullied in school, and it was a song that was playing, and he was doing. He actually did a challenge, and he was doing like the worm across the ground. The song ended up getting 100 million streams. So, and just because they spoke to them, he's, oh, wow, I can't believe that this person actually reached out to me. That's how you create a following and a fan base. You just can't take for granted that everyone's just going to say, oh, this record is hot. No, if you show these kids that you're going to show the same interest that they share with you by coming to your page and making a comment, you should try your best to reach out to as many of those fans as possible. And that's my advice.
Yeah, and that's how you build a loyal fan base and the cult following that you said too, because then it's going to show you
Yeah.
care about your fans. That really helps out in the long run. That's something that's much needed. What does it kind of really take too? Because I was looking on there where you
Mhm.
get that artist of the month. So what does it take
Um,
to be featured in artist of the month?
We just randomly pick for now because I
Mhm.
don't want to make it where it's about a song or whatever. But sometimes if a song just takes off, like there's a couple songs that we have right now that we know that are going to do that. We're going to feature them and we're going to give them so many days up on the platform where when you log on, that's the artist you see. Everything that they're doing, everything that across the board. Then there's artists when we do this contest. That's the sign up contest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick different winners from different genres, and I'm going to do a video, production with A-list artist, A-list writer, and help them promote the song. So I'm going to pick different artists from different genres, and so that's how you get featured as well. So, and then when we're doing concerts or shows and stuff with different people, Collective is going to be there, sponsoring some of the events and stuff like that. And so this summer we're going to do a lot of that, especially in Florida area, because we have a lot of festivals down there that we're going to be helping with and sponsoring. So we're going to start putting ourselves on the map, and we're going to do some country stuff, pop, house. Not, I wouldn't say house music. We call it the EDM music.
The
We're going to do
electronic
that.
stuff. Hmm.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Because the thing about the platform, you don't have to be an artist. You don't just have to be you can be a publicist. You can put your, so basically I'm making it where you can show anyone in the music industry what you're done, what you're capable of doing to enhance and help an artist. So if you're a publicist, if you're uh, a writer, producer, you can put your, so basically, say for instance, like with Jazzy. Jazzy's on our page. So now a person that's an artist can see that, oh, Jazz is on the page. And then you can see all his production, all of his songs, all of his work in the past. And then you're talking about a stylist, a person that dresses artists for video shoots and stuff like that. The videographer, he can put his stuff on there. He could go in there and sign up. He could put his work on there. So now I can share his platform to other artists that are on the page that can help and do a video for them that's way less expensive. And it's just like basically it's almost like a melting pot of everything in the music industry. Like Amazon. That's what we're trying to do. Um, and I think it's going to be extremely successful once we really launch. And we're going to do several showcases and like launch events. We're going to do one in Atlanta, LA, Texas, New York, and Miami areas. And so we're just going to really, we're going to have a tutorial the whole time that the artists or people on the carpet, when they walk in, there's going to be televisions everywhere, and it's going to be like a mass tutorial to show how to get in and out and work the pages and get in. And as far as like, we have a tutorial site on YouTube where you can actually go there and it walks you through as a consumer, as the artist, as a label, as a producer. So it just explains the in and outs of the platform.
That's huge. Because everyone's going to be able to understand what the whole movement is about, and that's going to help them navigate through
Ex-
the everything that they sign on with the
Exactly.
packages. Yeah, the pack
Yeah.
is there's all these
Yeah.
separate packages on there too. Even if you're up and coming artist or one
Yeah.
that's huge right
Yeah.
now, you got different selections up there. That's really helping everyone out.
And it's even good for like DJs. Say like a
Yeah.
DJ, like I can take a DJ and put all of his information up there, and especially in their area, and say and you put up all the music, all the stuff you're doing. I'm working here. I'm going to this location. I'll be here, and then that way they can follow. You can create a fan base of your own on our platform as well. So as a DJ, as a promoter, like I said, it's like a melting pot for the music industry. Seriously, for everything.
Yeah, that's it's going to be game change. Are you looking to take things because there's also a whole because I interview a lot of actors on my show as well. Are you looking to help
Mm.
out actors too? Because I know that's a similar
Yeah.
issue they go through with because a lot of agents now will pick auditions based off of the numbers, and those numbers could be faked.
Oh yeah, no, we like I said, Amazon. We're working with anyone in entertainment, period. Any aspect of it, like I say, publicists, writers, like I said, DJs. Um, and the thing that I really like about it is that it's really user friendly. It's I call it simple stupid. You know, we sit there and have so many different places to go to log in and to get into the platform. And just keep it very simple. One of the things about YouTube is extremely simple. If you want to Google something, you pull them up. And I want the fan base too. I want to have it. I want to make it to the point where it's not just the artist, but I want to drive traffic to it, just like a YouTube, where you have their fans coming to your page. Just think a person like Alejandro has 57 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and I put his song on a platform. I get his fan base to come there. So now I'm opening up the window for all the other artists that are on the platform to be seen by their fans as well. So you're just creating a whole thing of, just content. It's just you're just creating so much content and accessibility to everyone in every genre, and that's the key.
A game changing. It's really going to change the game. It's huge what you're doing out here.
Hmm.
As far as what are some other things that you kind of, because the internet, it's always changing every day with new innovations and things coming about with
Hmm.
updates and things like that. So are there other things that you have on the horizon that you're going to be adding to
Yeah.
the
Oh
website as
yeah.
well?
Like AI, like
Hmm.
that's going to drive traffic to your page. It's going to drive traffic to the artist. It's going to drive our platform to artists and let them know we're out here and we have the ability. We can help you in any way possible. We're creating the financial. We have a banking. That's down the road where we can set up and teach financial literacy to teach these kids. They make a lot of money, but if no one's telling them how to to manage it, after things done, they don't have any money left. And a lot of times it's not. And then, like I said, everyone else gets blamed for it, but kids are kids, and these artists are artists, and they're gonna do things a certain way. And you could just, as long as you're giving them the platform to show them if they're willing to learn and listen, then they won't make the same mistakes that a lot of people have made. I've made those mistakes in the past, So, and then the other thing that we're doing is, I'm trying to think. Yeah, we have documents on there, like for legal documents. We have an attorney that can actually say, like, there's an artist that someone's approaching about doing a deal or something. They don't have legal counsel. We can actually give referral to an attorney that you will use to solidify your deal for you. So you're just not, in the blind, just signing something without reading it and not even understanding it. So, it's, we're just creating a whole community, and that's pretty much it. Yep.
Man, no, this is I'll tell you the majors are going to be angry because now you're really putting them what they're supposed to be doing out here. You're really helping them.
Yeah.
That's what's so beneficial.
Yeah, like I said, I don't speak negative about anything, because you just can't. But you know, people understand. There's certain things that are happening right now in this industry. The labels can't figure it out. That's why they're all combining right now,
Mhm.
because the independent artists are kicking butt right now because they're realizing they don't have to sign their life away to have a hit record. You know, and it's really kind of entertaining to watch that.
It
You know.
is. It
Yeah.
definitely is. And I've seen some of the artists that you have on there after they've actually been a part of the show. Molly Waters been on the show. Casey the
Hmm.
Kid, he's another talented artist. So I like the
Yeah.
artists that you're working with already and helping them push their
Hmm.
careers as well.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, like, um, there are so many artists. There's a girl out here right now. I'm not gonna say her name yet, but she's amazing too. Like, she's like a superstar. Like, she's young. She's a writer. She's in a lot of writing camps and stuff. When she finally comes out, she's gonna be somebody to deal with. I promise you that. She's really amazing. And Casey is like, that's like my little brother, man. I love that kid to death. Uh, he's gonna be special. Molly's gonna be special, but they're definitely. But Casey, I met him in Dallas when I did we did a showcase up there, and I met him during the showcase, and he was with me ever since. So yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a great kid. I love him.
Yeah, he
I love
definitely
him.
is.
Yeah, Molly's just funny. She's really funny. Talks a lot of mess, but she's really talented.
Mhm.
She is amazing on songs. Like, she really is. Like, it's not like when you go to the studio. Sometimes you have to, like, work with some artists. You have to literally go in there and do the make sure the auto tune is up to par. But she's not one of those artists. She really sounds great on records. She really does.
And that's
Yeah.
what we need, authentic artists.
Oh yeah.
When we look at because you're someone that's really tapped into the game, so I am curious, who are your top five hip hop artists of all time, and what are you kind of looking for when you see these new artists come in, being that you're so well known in the industry and just knowledgeable about music as a whole?
Mhm. Always gonna love Tupac,
Hmm.
50 Cents,
Oh, yeah.
Eminem, uh, Lil Wayne. There's so many. I don't want to leave other people out, but like Lil Wayne, and let me think. Uh, Ti.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Those are the top five.
Yeah.
Like you can just put this stuff in and hit play, you know?
Hmm.
Uh, and it's that yeah. Like I remember when I first heard 50 Cent's album, I literally put In the Club on repeat and I was in traffic. And I didn't care. I had the music down, I mean the windows down and stuff, and I just rolled and listened to everything. Just and that song over and over and over. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying was definitely probably the biggest impact an album has ever had in hip hop
hmm
when it
Yeah, like
first dropped.
yeah, you know what's so crazy? That's the blessing and the curse. Because where do you go from there when you have an album like that at first? When
It's
you come out
true.
like it's like, man, yeah. So yeah, it's yeah, those are my guys. Those are the ones I like listening to.
Those are
Yeah,
the
I know I
ones.
left some people off, but it's unintentional. But yeah, yeah.
So when do you expect to launch? Do you have like a time frame? Because you're going to be going to
Yeah.
all these shows and
Um,
showcases.
uh, we're gonna start around the 21st,
Hmm.
and we're gonna do an event, and then after that, we're just gonna start this contest, in different genres, and we're just gonna be really promoting it, doing a lot of interviews and stuff like that. And that's probably the best, best way of saying it for now. Um, but there's some other artists that are coming to the platform that we haven't put on there yet. So what we did was we started working with this particular distribution that white labeled us, and we had to really do a lot of beta testing because we want to make sure that there's no hiccups. If there are any problems, we can catch them before we really get started. And that was the most important thing, just to have a product that you can count on to be, 100%, without having any glitches and stuff like that.
Hmm. Are you going to be doing things too? Because I don't know if you're familiar with Taylor Swift. She had to like release a lot of her albums off her catalog to get paid off of them. Is that something that you're going to be doing with a lot of these legacy artists that you work with as well?
Yeah, the ball's in their court. Whatever they want to do in any way I can help. I have like a secret weapon on the publishing side. A person that finds money that's just sitting around. He has a computer. I call him the computer. He literally can. You just give him a name and a song, and he'll say, "Oh, there's like $1 million sitting here. There's 300,000 sitting there. There's 50,000 sitting there." And he's amazing. Yeah, and he does some stuff for like some major companies right now where he actually finds the money that's just sitting. Because it may have been something where it was entered incorrectly when you put it out, and it was say like someone else drops it, they may have put the wrong letter in a word of a song, or and now that money's just sitting there. So he showed me like a lot of details about that. So yeah.
Yeah. That's huge. And it's going to really help out artists. I know artists often when they're up and coming that they have to work all these different jobs. So now they can fully focus on music and gain a real profit off of it. That is their job, and that's how it should be.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. Like I said, I just really, really want to open the artists their eyes and show them there's a different way.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these platforms, they just put up a record. Like I said earlier, there's how do you promote that? When you have put a song up, and the artists aren't going to sit on the page and look at themselves if they have one song. So you have to figure out how you're going to drive traffic to the page, and we're here to help teach that, you know. And that, like I said, that's the most important thing. Oh, by the way, this is my little my little drink champ.
Oh,
I'm having a sip. I just relax it.
I should have brought an air horn then.
Oh yeah, man. No, I love that shit.
Oh,
But
classic. Classic for sure. But so you got the launch planned already. So what else is on the way with you that we didn't speak about? What else that you got planned with Collective Media?
um, the content. We're gonna have a lot of content that's coming from another company. Once we can say the name once we finalize everything. But this is a major company. They're huge. They have a facility for influencers, and this is amazing. Like what they have to offer, the blogs, um, 5-star restaurants, podcasts. And like you literally can sit. You can go to different rooms in this place, and I mean it's amazing. Like it's something that it's actually going to do another location in other cities, but this you can have a studio. Um, Let me see. There's just so much that place is amazing, and I just don't want to do it in injustice by trying to. But like I said, once we finalize what's going to happen between us, then it's going to be a part of everything we're doing. But it's really going to help our business as well, because they have so much content. I mean, millions of people in the content area. You know.
Mhm. As far as marketability too, because you're on that side, which is distribution and everything, are you looking to really get involved with the cities? Because I remember being a kid and going into New York, and you still have it on the digital screens. Like it's like a small
Mm,
clip of like an artist you'll see
mm,
outside Sirius or something. But I remember being a kid, you'd see the
mm.
billboards like Fat Joe, and when he was doing all those albums with Terror Squad, you'd see them all over in the physical form and billboards. Is that something that you're looking to bring back
Oh
potentially?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
We're doing that actually. We're actually doing that in Times Square. Once we
Wow.
launch, you're gonna see the featured artists in Times Square, and then we're gonna like different genres. But like I said, it's that all of that stuff is in the works, and that's why I can't wait to get started because then all those things can be seen, from everyone. Like, oh wow, this is totally different. Because I can say that no one's doing what I'm doing. I promise you, they're not doing everything like this.
I
You know,
agree.
because during the pandemic, that's when it really I saw that's how bad the insurance thing was. Because kids couldn't go to the doctor. They had dental problems. They had just things unexpected. And you can't even go get it looked at unless you go in and get in debt, with the hospital, So I think, I figure if you think about it like this, once you sign up, it's not just you. You can sign up your family members, anybody, you know what I mean? Health, life, optic, and dental. And they're not the, they're like United Healthcare, Kaiser, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So they're not some little stuff. These are real insurance companies. And
Mhm.
it's affordable too because say for instance, they go based off of your income. So when you're literally say like say I'm an artist, I just signed, I haven't got any money yet. You can get insurance, you can cover your family, you can cover yourself. And if you start making more money, then you pay a little bit money, but it's the affordable care. So, but it's a necessity. And we're not trying, like I said, we're not trying to be the insurance company. They have a database of thousands of reps that are gonna, you hit the link, they'll answer your questions, they'll sign you up for insurance.
Mm. Yeah,
Yep.
this is going to be really beneficial. And you brought up Drink Champs. I know Nori's big on it with the union and hip hop. So that's something that you're building. I think that's so important when I look at back a lot of the hip hop legends because it is a
Mhm.
job and you see a lot of when you work a job, you get insurance. You're supposed to get some benefits. And when
Yeah.
you're an artist, it's where you see a lot of the artists from the past suffering. It's horrible to watch.
Yeah, it is. And that's one of the another reasons why this was so important to me because I've seen so many artists that they're great and they end up with nothing because they're not educated, they don't know. Because most of these kids that sign up just like athletes, they don't have any money. The difference between athletes and artists, the athletes get the money, they don't have to pay it back. Whereas an artist, they give you this money, but the thing is they'll give you an advance, but they control the 90% of the rest of the money after they give you the deal. And you get yourself in a hole in a bind. You can't get out of that hole because you're not making enough money on your back end to even make it make sense. And so when the labels are sick of you, or they don't want you to go to the studio, or they won't let you release records, you sign a deal with an album deal. I had a deal where the artist had a single that went nuts, and we signed for an album deal, album deals, and they never did let us release an album. So you're never going to get your full collection rate. So you're sitting there putting out single after single after single. So you're never recouping and you're never fulfilling your commitment on your contract because you can't because the A&R that's over the project is going to say, that's okay. I'm not feeling that. It's okay. So you're in the studio running up studio time, paying engineers, and paying for all this stuff, and you turn it in, and the label says no, I'm not interested in that. That's not what we're looking for. So you go back in and you drop a single. Then you get this expensive video. Now you're in a hole even more. Then they hire a production company. Then they go play for radio. Radio is so expensive for one record, it just doesn't make sense. Because these kids, they don't really care about radio like they used to.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm not saying that that's 100% true, but like like the kids, for instance, I rode with some kids for months and they never turned the radio on one time. they're on their phone constantly. You could be in a room with kids and they're sitting there on the phone all day, every day, not even talking to each other. And then when they leave, they say, "Oh, that's my best friend." How do you even say you haven't talked to them all day? How do you even know that? I'm like my niece runs track. I'm watching her now. They sit there. We go to lunch or go to dinner after practice or whatever, and all of them are on their phone. Then they get upset when it's time to go. You're not talking to each other. Like, what are you missing? Like, there's nothing that you're even saying to each other. So it's just so different now. So that's why you just have to be able to adapt with the times, with the music, the streaming platforms. You know, because like the R&B stuff, I love R&B always. It's just really expensive for radio. If you know, what I mean, it's just so expensive.
It
You
is.
eat up all your money that you made, you know, on streaming, paying for radio, to make the record go, and so that's my take on that.
Yeah. No, it is. It is expensive. And then when you turn on the radio, it's the same 10 songs. So who knows if you're really getting played as much as you should, even though you put into it.
Yeah, that's true. That yeah, that man.
uh,
Like I said, I'll never throw anyone under the bus, but that radio is that's a tricky business.
oh,
You know?
yeah. There's a
Yeah,
whole other level of politics there, especially with the New York stations. I'll tell you, just when you listen to it, you never hear anything different. You hear about people spending so much money on radio promotion, you never hear the records. It's barely.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
It's crazy. It really is. And
And
I commend what you're doing
yeah,
out here, Will. It's gonna change. It's gonna change a lot of things.
yeah. I'm trying to change the narrative. I'm just really trying to make it about, and I'm not saying I, but we, our team, are trying to make it about the artists, and giving them an opportunity to own their real estate, which is their masters, and create financial security and stability for themselves and their family. You know, create a generational wealth, and it's easy to do if you just artists just have to understand. Don't try to take a bunch of money because you can't pay it back.
Mhm.
You know, get to the point where you take enough money to get you where you can recoup, and you start getting your money quarterly. Versus that's the only money you ever get when you take your first advance. That's stupid. You know. And to me, I think it's by design because you can't. There's no way, with the way the records are selling, they had to figure out how to do the streaming platform to make it work. But then, like I said, they own the platform, so the collection rate is so backwards.
Mhm.
It's just ridiculous. 0.008, 0.0004, point zero. You know what I mean? It's how are you gonna? How could you possibly make money doing it?
It's impossible.
Yeah. Yep.
Will, is there anything else you want to let the audience know that we didn't touch on tonight for
Oh no,
collective
I
media?
appreciate the time. I'm sorry for the my phone being so dead.
Oh,
Um,
it happens. No problem,
yeah,
man.
yeah, but
Just-
not. I appreciate you. I appreciate Nice. You know, like I said, he's going to be a big part of what I'm doing. And I really want to have some of the, like you say, the legendary artists come to my platform, and we can get. I will put the YouTube movement behind them, the different platforms behind them to help them. Because they're legends, and I still listen to their music today, like the Jim Jones, people like that. I mean, it's like, you grew up on that stuff, and you know, just because they didn't have it like it was now with the streaming platforms, there's a way in which they can still be, uh, a person that can still generate wealth and money for themselves,
Mhm.
and that's what we want to do. Like I really want to have every type of artist come to our platform. I really do.
I hope everyone does follow, and it would be in the best interest too, and it's going to really spark a movement out here, and it's about to launch, and I'm looking forward to it. Let them know where they can follow the movement, the page on Instagram, X, YouTube, all that, the website, collectivemedia.io.
Yeah, yeah. You're killing me right now because that's a lot. It's collective.io, collectivemedia.io. Um, and then just go through we just go through all the socials. All the socials are listed actually on the platform. Once you open it, it's to the left or to the right. It says collective media, collective. Let me see. Man, I need to have somebody that can really do this. No, but it's on there, huh?
It's on there.
Yes, collective or collective media. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you get there, you'll see. We have all the handles on there, so they can go in there and look at everything pretty much.
Okay.
So yeah, but I wish I would have said it. I'm gonna get nice for that one because he changed the time on me.
Oh, yeah. Shout out
Yeah.
to All Nice for getting this set up too. I
Oh
appreciate it.
yeah. No, he's a good guy, man.
He
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I was
Well,
like I said. Normally we get out of practice at 7:30, and they went to 8 o'clock tonight. I was like, man,
oh.
and my phone was dead, so it was kind of like, oh man, what am I gonna do? So then I tried to sit in the car, and the car just wasn't working right. And then when you get in the car, it goes silent. I couldn't even hear you. You couldn't hear me. So I appreciate you being patient with that whole situation there.
Of
Yeah.
course. And well, you're always welcome on the show too. Thank you for all that you're doing. Once
Okay.
you get going, anytime you need some promotion, let me know and I'll help out.
Oh man, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. All right, man.
All right, Will. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm looking forward to this launch.
Okay, yes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send over all of my social media platforms and handles.
Okay.
I'm gonna forward that to you. I just
All right, yeah, I'll make
yeah.
sure to get that on there for you too.
Okay. I
All right,
really
Will.
appreciate it.
Take
All right,
care.
thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your night.
Oh, you too, man. I appreciate it.
Of
All right.
course, anytime. Salute.
All right. Same to you.
Yeah.
All right, bro.